We are in Brussels, in La Centrale. Centrale is a contemporary art space. There are several exhibitions, goes parallelly. There was an interview already in Centrale with Tanya Nasielski, curator, so you can watch out in Paris-Budapest-Metro.com. But now we're talking about this exhibition. So what I see here is that it's really colorful and it's not abstract. What I see now is, the trends in Art Basel and in big exhibitions, that there are many abstract things going on. Why don't you do that, and why don't you do these figurative things?
So by painting, I create new narrations or scenarios or open scenarios, and they're not realist because not purely realist, of course, but because I don't believe in realism in art. After all the evolutions in modernism and stuff, I don't believe in pure mimesis, but they need to be representative for some figures. So you need to recognize something, but not necessarily to see precisely what I meant, which figure I meant it to be, or which actor it is in the scenario. It stays open. So, but every series for me is like a new storyline or like a new narration, and for this you need a kind of representation, of course.
In an interview, you mentioned that you are a sculptor and writer and, of course, a painter.
Yeah.
So, how this all things goes together?
A lot of my series are like props, like theater props. This could be theater props for a hypothetical theater play. Every series, like this series, is a combination of two storylines, but at the end I want to always put them together or mix them together, because in this way the narration is even more open and gets even more crazy or more mixed up. And I want, as I said, it's like a theater scenario or a theater play with the theater props. But I want to present it as a theater depot, as a stockage. And why is this depot very important for me? Is because then it's not literally a theater, but it escapes the theater play. It's like the moment before the theater play. It escapes, the narration escapes itself, because otherwise it gets incestuous with itself. It escapes itself. And the theater depot gives also a possibility, because it's the moment before the theater starts. And this moment before is for me, it's not after but before, because it gives way more possibilities. Because then the theater needs to start, the narration needs to start, but also for the spectator, he can create his own narration, his own openness. The spectator is also the writer, because he activates the theater play by walking into it, by watching the pieces. He gets also an active writer, so I'm not only the writer.
There was a theater play when they imitating the starting of a theater, the last 20 minutes before they go to stage. So the whole play was about these 20 minutes before the shows goes on.
Okay.
So this reminds me the same, kind of the same. People are very interested on the background, maybe what are the storage room looks like, where the people are coming. Do you have the same feelings?
Yeah, in the way the play itself is like the explosion, but the explosion is too literal. And when you get too literal, it gets less strong. So it's by creating this depot also, as you say, the preparation of the play, there's more subtlety. Otherwise, it's getting just kitsch. It's like just the festival. The way to the carnival is way more layered. It's like that it's just too loud that you can't hear it anymore.
Yeah, but in this meaning, well, it not reminds me the preparation of the playing, but actually they are already in scale, because these people, for example, next to you, is already imitating something, is doing something. So not just waiting for the start.
But here we have a very special format. Eh? The format of a vitrine is that you can't walk into it, you can't walk around it. So it's very one-dimensional when people look at it. So I had to change this depot and think about the vitrine, because it wouldn't work in the same way as when I do it in my installation. Then they're interposed on each other and you have to look around the corner. But here that's not possible, so you have to work with this format of this one-dimensionality. I can't put pieces one in front of each other because you can't. You can go here, you understand? So I had to think it differently, because they're all painted on the back, sometimes abstract, sometimes figuration.
Yeah, anyway, that's also, I wanted to mention that the meaning of this section of La Centrale is the vitrine is when you only see outside from the street and you cannot come in. In the text you're mentioning Bulgakov and Victor Hugo as a kind of inspiration, a cœur de chien. It's a
Heart of
novel.
Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can all these things could connect?
Yeah, it's first constantly reading myself to find starting points and to find actors. But as you see, these figures they have different characters already in them. Here you have the professor of Bulgakov, but the downside is the golem. The Jewish golem, because I thought this in Heart of Dog, it's a kind of Frankenstein story to change the brains and the testicle of a dog, and then he becomes human. I think this also relates a bit to the golem, because it's also creating life out of stone and changing life. And so these figures, they exist out of different personages or characters or layering, and I thought this was so. Heart of Dog is a bit parallel to my practice, and this goes to Le Notre-Dame de Paris. La Cour des Miracles is this. La Cour des Miracles is this gathering point was really a physical gathering point in different cities that existed in medieval age. These ghettos where criminals, prostitutes and beggars lived together. Why I wanted to do this Cour des Miracles with these criminals is to have this reversement, so not always put the good guys in paintings or in a museum, but now let's go with the anti-heroes, because anti-heroes, I think, creates way more possibilities. I think that you can go very far in this.
Well, I want to connect in another way in literature, because since Victor Hugo, I think in Victor Hugo's world there was the real heroes, and you're talking about the anti-heroes. But I think in the last 20 years in France there was, in the literature, I mean, it was really kind of an opposite way.
Of course, these naturalistic periods where Zola was the hero. He wanted to write about this misery of that period. So that of course is always about anti-heroes, because we're talking about Germinal here and stuff, and when I read La Joie de Vivre, it's about these mining people and about the people getting used and being mistreated by all the system, and it's pure misery. But that's also that time frame. But you're right. Sometimes it was very important to write about anti-heroes.
Well, I had some university students around me, and they are not reading anymore. They watch YouTube. But when I say that, okay, please read this 200-page book, they never do that. But if I give a film, that they say that, I watched it already or something like that. How and why could become literature more and more interesting? I
think because that was also in one of your question, is the archetypes, for example, that I choose, and how I'm going to relate to your question. They're not only the archetypes of the book. Between the lines, you can always read a main thing about humanity or of being human or like this main archetype that still exists, like the drunk king who eats too much.
Okay, let's talk about a little about the Brussels art life. What is the best is there's many small places and they kind of connected with each other and with the culture. You can see many movements going on. Do you like this kind of atmosphere here? And the second could be that is it a way that you go maybe in Paris to London, big places?
Look, it's a strategy. You have to be careful to not getting, when being young, how talented you are, how good you are, it doesn't matter. If you're in too large place, you will drown between the mass. And also, talking about New York and London, yeah, you won't have time to work on your art because you will be stressed to pay your apartment. So it's just impossible and it's not very smart. I could have gone to Düsseldorf or to Hamburg, which are way bigger schools, but then I did Karlsruhe and Münster because I know I was not ready for all that competition and because you have to fight for your place, even for your atelier spots. And in these smaller schools, you could breathe. I mean, you could easily say, hey guys, I want to make a big installation, can I have for this? I mean, it's also a bit about character, if you can handle it. But in this, I see a parallel with choosing the right city. I mean, you start with a small place. You can't immediately ring at the door at the MoMA and say, hey, can I have a spot? So it's just like climbing the things, and climbing the stairs is way easier in a place like this, as you explained it. You have a gallery and then you will have another gallery and a second one in Germany. Now I have a group exhibitions in Germany and that's also starting. I mean, you also have to be able to not only grow in your work, but also grow in the way how you communicate with people, how you present yourself. That networking is also something I don't like that it's a part of the job. 5 years ago I was completely different in that also. So that's also something that changes and that I couldn't have the opportunity to change when I was immediately in a city like Paris, because I would immediately suffocate.
Actually, I talk many Parisian artists and all saying that they have to go more and more out from the city because they cannot pay the renting price, of course, and it's just becoming impossible to stay in the kind of Centrale.
Yeah, but that's really a problem. Because I think when you're young, you need this energy and this boogie woogie, this bum 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 bum, and you need this sharpness and things to move, and that could be a real problem. I think this moment of your life should be when you're 40 or 50, but I think you miss great opportunities also in creation-wise, in meeting people if you do that immediately. That's a kind of catastrophe, I think.
Thank you very much.